welcome back to another episode of Author Interviews with Jazz and Prose. I'm your host, Flyy. Guys, today we are here with an amazing writer who has been in the game for over 30 plus years. I think you guys know him very well. Okay, so let me do a proper introduction here. Okay, so this is Mr. Omar Tyree. Okay, he is a New York Times bestseller. Okay, a NAACP Image Award winner. He's a professional journalist, which a lot of you guys probably don't know that. Howard alum. Okay, he's done fiction, nonfiction, directing, speaking at over 80 colleges in the US. And you have like 2 movies that you did, right? Monologues, and then you had another one, right?
Yeah, what's the Lure of Young Women?
Yes. So first of all, Mr. Omar Tyree, thank you so much for stopping by with Jazz and Prose. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm recuperating from 9 weeks of travel, so this week is going to be a little slow to get back in the system. And now I'm trying to get my head right on when I wake up, when I go to sleep. I'm all over the place. I've been in all these different time zones for the last 9 weeks. So, and
Yeah.
then California was the last one. That's 3 hours different. So maybe I'll be back in shape by like Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, that jet lag, I know. But we've been seeing you working on Instagram, social media. You've been working, doing your tour for the Flyy Girl Trilogy, right? Because this is what, the 32nd year since it's been published?
Yeah, from the first book, 93 to 2025.
Yeah.
But the book, it was written before then, but I didn't put it out until 93 because I was still in school.
Okay. Yeah, see, I'm a reading teacher, Omar, so when it gets to the numbers, I gotta have a calculator to do that math. But we know it's been over 30 years. And that book, guys, he's written, let me go to the screen right here, more than just Flyy Girl. Okay, he's written over 30 books, right? Over 30 books. So I was like, I gotta put this picture up here so people know. But I know a lot of people. So I'm 36. Okay, when I was in high school, Flyy Girl was the book that everybody, started off. They were introduced with that one, and then of course, like Coldest Winter Ever. Y'all, those 2 books was like a package. It had a huge impact. And this is the thing. We have to give this man his flowers because I feel like you really started it, for younger people and older people, just seeing a reflection of themselves in the pages in their community and things like that. But you're from Philly, right?
Right.
Yeah. Even though I'm from New Orleans, just seeing the dialect, the dialogue, that was important.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I really have to give you your flowers. I appreciate that. I'm a writer too. You're someone that I look up to, of course. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I gave an introduction, but tell us a little bit about your upbringing, how that maybe impacted you to start your journey with writing.
Well, I love New Orleans. I got a New Orleans story called Leslie, if you didn't know. That's
I know.
one of my favorite characters. But I got a song I just wrote 2 days ago called West Philly, in which I talk about growing up with my aunts and uncles because my mother was the oldest of 8. And so with her being the oldest, I had an uncle that was only 2 years older than me. He was the youngest, and so I was around aunts and uncles and cousins who were all older than me, and they had a whole lot of stories to tell. They were getting into a lot of stuff that you're not supposed to see as a young dude, but I'm around them all day, so they're not shielding me from stuff. And so I was a little more mature for my age, growing up in West Philadelphia, around aunts and uncles and cousins and so much stuff that was going on in the 1970s. And so that's where a lot of the storytelling picked up from there. I had, aunts and uncles and cousins who were in the stories and getting into trouble and going to the movies. We were a big movie family. And so a lot of the stuff that I ended up doing was mimicking, just like comedians do. You mimic the stuff that's around you. You mimic the voices, you mimic the stories, you mimic the characters. And so that's what I started doing at a young age. And I never lost that skill.
Yeah. I think that's, and for me as a writer too, I'm nosy, and I think that helps. Like in New Orleans too. New Orleans is very small. Kind of everybody knows everybody, but before Katrina now, because I know Leslie was written before Katrina. So, but before Katrina, you know, being around family and just like you say, your aunts, your uncles were like a little older than you, but it's just nothing like that. But I think you putting that into your writing just, you know, because it blows my mind that you wrote this from a man's perspective for Flyy Girl with Tracy. And was that hard for you? Like jumping into that, or because maybe you had been around so much of your family and maybe it came naturally?
It came naturally. If
Yeah.
I'm around you every day and I'm watching you, I'm a mimic. Everything you do, everything you say, every movement you make, I have those skills. So it's not hard for me at all. When you have those skills, you have them. You know, it's just like a girl that's good in fashion. She just has a knack of putting together colors that match. A person that's good at doing hair, she has a knack of having the patience to get each particular strand of hair in place. You know,
Yeah.
so people that got skills have skills. I have skills as a storyteller. So I can keep talking about it until I'm dead, but everybody doesn't have the skills to apply the details of the story the way I could apply details. So it doesn't matter if it's female, white, black, Asian, young, old. If I'm watching you, I'm going to get it right.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's very important. And speaking of mimicking, and I'm not, because I know there's still people who haven't read the book and they might go buy it after seeing this interview today, because it is out. He got a new cover for it, guys. There was a part in the book, a good amount, where I do feel like the influence of parents played a big part. And I know you wrote this years ago, but I thought that that was a very, I don't know if you did that strategically when you wrote it, but her comparing herself to her mother a lot and seeing like the relationship between her mother and father and how that impacted her mindset to kind of go out there. But when you said mimicking, I was like, I took note of that when I was reading the book. I was like, that's important. Um, so when it comes to you writing your books, do you always start off writing them with a message in mind, or is it just kind of like you have a topic you want to write about and you just go for it?
Yeah, it's always topical. You know, I'm not going to just pick up a pen and say, oh, what I want to write today. No, it's always, hey, this topic pulls me. Hey, this topic is something I want to talk. Hey, this topic we need to do something with. So it's always topical. You know, I'm a journalist, so it's always, what is this story about? What is this story about? What is this story about? So I
Yeah.
don't really do the beach read thing where I just pick up a pen and start imagining stuff. No, it's always going to be a strong topic that I want to write a story about. And with New Orleans, it was poverty and it was voodoo and it was college. You know what I mean? That whole New Orleans thing. Flyy Girl was materialism, the 1980s, the fly years, you know. So every book that I write is going to be topics that I want to discover for that particular book that are going to be unique from any other book I write. So I don't write the same books over and over again. It's always something new. Even when I did the trilogy series, she's coming from a new perspective in life, a different age in life, going through different things in life. So it's never going to be the same book when I put my name on it.
Absolutely. And I think that's important. We have a lot of writers who watch this channel. And I think that is important. I mean, you showed a lot of Tracy like through the years. But I think that your book is it's timeless, because even today, I was making comparisons. I'm like, this is the same thing kind of like with IG baddies, like the girls on Instagram and stuff like that. I see the same kind of mindset of, you know, kind of just using what they have to kind of go out there and getting what they want, and not, and materialism is still a topic today. I mean,
Right.
kind of with social media and technology, it's even more so, because I think people are seeing everybody else now. Back in the day, you know, it was when they went to school. You know, she went to school, she had her new outfit, people saw that and it's like, oh, you know. But now it's like pictures and stuff like that that
Yeah.
the kids are seeing other people have, and just a
Yep.
whole other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got a lot more access to everything now. You know what I mean? Because you know, we couldn't see a girl being successful unless we read a newspaper or saw on TV. Now you can see her every day on her cell phone. You know what I mean? So yeah, the inspiration is a lot more clear and a lot more normal and a lot more consistent. And so yeah, it's not now. You know, Fly Girl is not that exceptional now. Everybody's doing some fly stuff now. You know, they don't call it fly. They don't use the word anymore. You know what I mean? But they are doing things that they consider to be, you know, out there and in your face and extra.
Yeah, and I think, you know, with that, with even though AI, what do you think about AI? Like, how do you feel like technology has changed in the publishing world from when you, because you've been doing this over 30 years, guys. So when you first started out and now people can self-publish, people with marketing, all of that. Do you see, because you've been a hustler since even back then, and you're still hustling, like, you know, going out, you say guerrilla marketing and, you know, doing your stuff. Do you feel like it's easier now with technology to market, or the same effort you feel like you put when you were back in the day too?
I just did a 27 city tour and I had one professional interview. That has never happened before.
Wow.
And that has happened now because now professional interviews are like, oh, we don't need to interview him. Get on social media. Just do your thing on social media. And so now it's like you can't get the radio, you can't get print, you can't get television like you used to be able to when you did a tour. Now they just push you to social media, they push you to a podcast, they push you to your own, you know, follower group, and they don't want to interview you. So I had one interview in Memphis, and I was jumping up and down for joy to be on that interview on a television station, you know, 9 a.m. in the morning where everybody can see me. And that we had a better event that night because now people that didn't know I was there were like, oh, Omar's in town. Because that's what happens when you get on radio and you get on TV and you get on print. People that don't follow you can now understand that you're in town. But if it's only the people that follow you, let's say I only got 100 people in Memphis and they didn't particularly tune in that day when I'm talking about being in Memphis, then they don't know I was there. You know, so that's the problem with the new social media thing. Everything is now, you know, based on your followership instead of just addressing humans plural. You know, so everything is separated now. My group, my followers, my team, instead of it being just over the board addressing the human audience, addressing New Orleans instead of addressing New Orleans that follows me. And so now everything is just separated and broken down into pieces now.
Yeah, and I think that's an important part that you just mentioned, because I'm in grad school for curriculum instruction that's as a technology leader, and a lot of the times we talk about, you know, how technology has changed throughout the years, and I think you made an important fact that social media is not the end all be all. You're still missing a whole group of people that maybe are, you know, they don't want to be on social media, but they watch the news every day. They listen to the radio still. I remember my uncle used to still have his radio set up in the garage, and he used to be listening to sports and stuff like that. So I think that is an important part, which is why I'm glad you're here to give your perspective. Okay, because you've been doing this for such a long time, is that it goes beyond social media. Even though, yes, social media is quicker now, but you're still missing the people who maybe are from an older generation who love your stuff, but they don't know about it because they're not going to download TikTok. They don't want TikTok. You know, they still want to stick to
I don't like the whole idea of having a specific audience anyway. You know, like information should be information, not just, oh, this is my audience. Oh, this for her audience. That's ridiculous. Information is information. So I don't really like that whole tunnel vision of this is my audience, this is your audience, this is her audience. It's all humans that should know everything that we should know. You know what I mean? So that part of it, I don't really like that part.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with you there, because it's you know, in nowadays growing up with technology, they, you know, as business owners, they tell us you need a niche, you need a target audience, but that's, you know, you are missing, like you said, a whole bunch of other people who might be open to the idea of reading your stuff, but they would never know about it. So people out there that's marketing, keep that in mind, and don't leave out all of the other
it also controls your ideas. You know, I hear a lot of music artists now, and they're always saying, my audience likes this, my audience likes that. When you first start creating, you don't know what your audience likes. You're putting stuff out there that you like. So when I see too many people saying, well, my audience this, but now your audience is controlling your creativity. And that's not really how it's supposed to work. Creative people are supposed to come up with stuff that inspire out of nowhere. You're not supposed to just know exactly what you're going to do. That now you're just servicing the people. That's not really inspiration anymore. You know what I mean? Oh, my audience likes this, so I'm going to give them that. Oh, my audience likes that, so I'm going to give them that. You're not really inspiring anymore, not really creative anymore, if that's the approach to it. And that's what social media is doing. everybody's very specific about their audience and won't do anything different. I'm like, well, damn, dude, I thought you were supposed to be creative. No, my audience wouldn't like that. Oh, so that means you're not going to do this other thing over here and you're supposed to be a creative person? So I don't really like that part of it either, where now the people are being controlled by their audience because they don't want to do anything that their audience does. I find that to be cowardice. I find that to be lack of creativity. Creativity is to create something brand new, not to facilitate the same thing you've been facilitating. But you know, that's business. It's business now more than creativity.
I was just about to say that. I was going to say, that's for people that are trying to get, the money. They're trying to hit those numbers, and people write for different reasons, but I completely agree with that. And you have a book called Control. Y'all don't know, that came out last year, right?
Yeah.
And I like, because I have a book I'm working on, and it's a mystery thriller, so I cannot wait to read that. That's next on my to be read list. About, and then therapy. I think let me just say this, and this is why I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad he's coming on here, because I love that you're writing about topics that are so important to humans. Okay. Because a lot of people now are open to therapy. Back in the day, I'm not going to no therapy. I'm not telling them about my business.
I'm fine. I'm not crazy. You crazy. I'm not going there. I'm not crazy. Ain't nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, so I love that, and I can't wait to read that. I love psychological thrillers. So check that book out too, guys. That came out last year. It's called Control. AI, and I'm gonna digress from this, but I always ask people about AI. What are your thoughts about people who use AI to write their books?
Well, people are bragging about it a lot now, like it's going to replace everything. And they said the same thing about ebooks years ago. Ebooks is going to replace everything. It's not going to be regular books anymore. And people are reading ebooks, but it hasn't replaced regular books. We still like the package of a regular book on the shelf and the whole nine, And so it's going to be the same thing. Audio books, they said that about audio books. Oh, audio books are going to, no, it hasn't. We read audio, but we listen to them. We don't really read them. We listen to them, but it hasn't replaced regular books. So the same thing with AI. It's going to be people, for the cheap and easy and generic people, they're going to use AI. When you need something very specific and very humane and very detailed, you're going to use humans. They might use some AI, but they're still going to use human stuff to manufacture most of it. And so, when you want very specific things, it's still going to be humans doing that. But then it's going to be the humans who really have extra skills and not just generic skills. And so AI is going to make it harder for people who are average. Now you're going to have to be exceptional with your skills. And so that just makes it a little harder. But, for people that really have confidence in their skills, they're not going to back down from AI. AI can't do what I do, and AI can't do what some of the artists that I know do. That people that can really draw, AI can't do what they do. So the people that can really do it, they're going to be fine. But the people who are just getting by and they're going to use AI, definitely.
Yeah. And I think it takes for people to fight for, human versus AI, because not everybody can tell, they have that eye, but I think it's important for humans to keep talking about humans versus AI, because, I have that conversation all the time. I think it can be helpful for automating certain stuff, but like you said, as far as putting the detail and putting the, dialect and all that kind of stuff, it's going to have to be a human. We're going to have to stick to humans doing that. Did you think when you wrote Flyy Girl and the whole trilogy, all three of those specifically, because I know you're on tour for that, that it would still be so relevant? Because a lot of people are like, oh my God, that is so nostalgic. It holds a special place in people's heart because they read it during a certain time and they still talk about it, So did you think that, like, nowadays people can pick up this book today and still find common, themes of what is happening in 2025? And I think a lot of writers want that, and you nailed it.
I don't know yet. We have to see what the 20s think about it, what the new teenagers think about it, because with you already read it in your teenage years. You're not going to forget those years. So it's locked in for you. But for the new people, we have to see if they are impacted by it in the first place. If you gave it to a younger sister right now, younger college student, will she be inspired by it immediately? Will she be like, oh, that book was all right? You know what I mean? Or she be, oh, the book. So we don't know yet, because it already did the job for you when you read it early. Now you have to read, or the next generation has to read it, and we'll see if it impacts them the same way. I don't know. I don't know if any book will impact them the same way that social media will. Maybe social media is the new book for them, and no book will impact. I don't know. You know what I mean? So we have to wait and see when they read it, because right now the books have just been reintroduced in May, then we got June, then we got July, now we're in August. Will the new young girls pick up the book and really feel it and run with it? I don't know yet. Well, I have to wait and see, and then we can answer that question. So I can't really answer that question yet because your time period is already passed because you're not a teenager anymore. So you're
Right.
locked in already. We have to look at that new group who are teenagers now and see if the book impacts them at all.
Absolutely. And I think you and your team, y'all should do a documentary or something like that and compare, have the young girls read it, come back, and y'all have that open panel conversation about common themes I think that would be great. I think the readers from back then, that's a good way to keep them in the loop and keep that going. I think people would love to see that. And then I know I don't know if you can talk about it because I know behind the scenes, there's a lot of legal stuff that's going on with, as a writer and things like that. But I know you're trying to get it turned into a movie.
Right.
So are you still fighting for that? And how is that going?
It's not really fighting. You just need the money. It's very simple. Like I tell everybody, if Tyler Perry, slapped $12 million on me, we got the movie done. You know what I mean? Then
Oh
we
my
got to
God.
market it, but it's that easy and that hard. People, oh, this
Yeah.
book is fabulous. Yeah, but we can't get anybody to put the money down to say that it's that fabulous. So that's what holds it back, the lack of the capital.
Yeah. And people, y'all watch this show all the time. Every time I'm like, Tyler, I want to work with you. So Tyler, you from New Orleans? Come on now, Tyler. We want to see this movie. I think we should start a petition. Honestly, you might have to go that route. We can start a petition with Tyler and say, Tyler, we want to see this movie. Okay, because I think it is important. I can't say it enough. I know people in the comments, they're going to say it, but this was for my time period, like you said, for the girls that are going to read it now, I think that would be amazing. What advice do you have for people who want to write a book, Omar? They want to write a book and they're like, I don't know if it's going to be successful, because you're very successful. So, and I know things were different, but what advice would you give to them? They want to write a book, but they're scared that it might not be successful.
Well, the first two things I say is writers write. So, the whole idea, I want to write a book one day. I'm going to write a book. I'm always thinking about writing a book. That's not writing a book. You're talking about it.
Yeah.
So writers write. You start writing in your notebook, in your computer, on your cell phone. You got to start writing. So you start with the first sentence, the first paragraph, the first chapter, and then you want to outline it so you know where you're going. So I always tell people, you really want to finish a book, you got to have the beginning and the ending, and then you fill out the middle. We always do that. We figure out the middle, but the beginning and the ending, you got to know where you're going so you can push the story forward to get to that end point. And then I always tell people to start with smaller stuff. Start with a poem, finish that. Start with a short story, finish that. Start with an essay, finish that. You got to learn how to finish first, because you get a lot of people that start books and they'll be on page 58 and they don't know how to finish. And I'm like, look, you can't finish a 300-page book if you don't know how to finish a 20-page book first. So just finish the small thing first. Don't try to cook, Thanksgiving dinner when you've never cooked a Saturday dinner. You know what I mean? Cook a regular Saturday dinner first and let the Thanksgiving thing come when you got more experience.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, finish a poem, finish a short story, finish an essay, something that's 5 pages, 10 pages. Do that about 5 times so you get the confidence of finishing something. Then you can move on to bigger things. But yeah, that's the main 2 things I tell them. Writers write and finish what you start. And it's always good to have a beginning and an ending if you're really trying to, complete something.
I love that. I'm gonna take that advice too, Mr. Tyree. Did you have any people that motivated you, like who you look up to? Because there may be that's the purpose of this show, is to get authors, because we interview a lot of self-published authors, but you're one of the only men. There's a couple of other ones, you know, other men. I know you had a big four, but did you have people who motivated you that before you put out your first book? It was like, I could do that because I see them doing it. I feel like I could do that.
Nah, not specifically. If you're talking
Okay.
about writers that, I was inspired by their work, yeah, I got the classics, Richard Wright, Donald Goines,
Yeah.
Chester Himes, Iceberg Slim, what's that, Toni Morrison, Walter Mosley was putting out some great stuff. And then, of course, Terry McMillan opened up the field for us, the marketplace, with her books. She had a book, Mama, and then she had Disappearing Acts that both came before Waiting to Exhale. Waiting to Exhale was the third book. That was a trifecta that blew up. But we were already in cahoots with Mama and Disappearing Acts. And Terry really opened up the marketplace for contemporary Black writers. And then we ran in after her. But as far as individual, identified inspiration, like I'm going to write a book, I didn't really have people like that. I was writing already, and my friends were like, man, you should write a book. You should. So I had like push from friends that knew I could do it, and then I accepted it, and went ahead and ran with it. One like, oh, I'm going to write a book like so-and-so. No, people telling me you should write a book because you're good at it. And so, yeah, I had friends and family members on top of me to write a book that wasn't inspired from other people. It was just me knowing how to do it. And then me accepting the challenge of writing my own books.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. We got to speak life into people. And I'm a teacher. I'm a reading teacher. So I tell kids all the time, you have to believe you do it. The first assignment we do every year is a vision board because I need y'all to believe that y'all can do it. Two questions from fans really quickly, Omar. So the first one is, how do you interact with your readers? And what strategy has been most successful with building your audience? That's from Lauren M. So how do you build your audience? I know with social media, you say you don't like targeting a certain audience, but basically now in 2025, how do you interact with your readers?
What was the first question? You said vending. Say that again.
How do you interact with your readers?
Oh, vendors. Okay.
Yeah. How do you interact with the people that reach, like your fans? How do you interact with them, I guess, in today's time?
Yeah, that's okay. That's the first question. I'm an introvert, really, like, so when I get on interviews and stuff, I'll talk about the content, but I'm not really that a social person. I'm gonna say, hey, thanks for reading my work and all that, the niceties, but I'm not walking around, hey, how are you? How are you? I'm not the social animal. And so when people love the work, I'm genuine. Oh, thanks. I love it that you love the work. But it's like you just respond as they respond to you. And then sometimes if they don't like the work, then you're trying to explain why you did the work. Why'd you do this or why'd you do that? You explain that, and then sometimes if they want to beat you up for the work, well, that was hard, but then you got to defend the work. If you're a defensive person, now you're trying to defend your work, so it's different moves depending on how they look at it. If they love it, you love them back. If they hate it, you trying to describe why you did it. If they say you should have never done it, then you're defending why you did it. So it depends on how the audience addresses you, and then when you're trying to cultivate an audience, I didn't really do that. I was trying to sell it to whoever was going to buy it. You know what I mean? You're trying to sell the work. So you're not looking at, I'm going to sell this to you and not to her. I wasn't thinking, I'm going to sell it to everybody that want to buy one. So I wasn't looking at a specific audience. That's what people do now with the follower thing. I was trying to get everybody to follow me, everybody to buy it, everybody to read it. So I wasn't looking very specifically at, hey, I'm pushing this book to you or to you or to you. No, I'm trying to push the book to everybody, figure out a way to relate the book to everybody. And so, yeah, that very defined audience thing, that's dangerous because sometimes you can have an audience outside of the audience that you're pitching, and you never know unless you pitch it to everybody.
Yeah. I really like that. I think that's one of the highlight takeaways for y'all out here that are writers is not to have an open mind with your people. Okay, the last one from a fan from my girl, I think it's Nate or Nate, don't forgive me. It says, how do you finish writing your books when like you're busy because you have life going on? Like what pushes you, Mr. Tyree?
Well, I call it putting yourself on punishment. Now they got a whole lot of artists that call it focus. And so if you can't focus on what you need to get done, you're in trouble because you're always going to have distractions. And that's where the world has a million distractions now. And so I don't understand how people finish anything now with so many distractions. Because this daggone cell phone, dude, I
Yeah.
mean, stuff, you can be on a cell phone all day and all night. You got to put that thing down, say, look, I got other stuff to do. So yeah, the distractions can stop you from doing anything, but
Yeah.
focus artists, focus people that get things done, you got to focus and get past the distractions. And that's with anything you're trying to do. Even if you're cooking dinner, you got to be focused in so you don't burn the daggone kitchen down by paying attention to something else while you're trying to cook dinner. So that's just focus. You can't get away from focus if you're
Yeah.
trying to accomplish anything.
Yeah, you said a lot there. You said a lot. And school, we went back yesterday, Omar, it's illegal in Texas for kids to have their phones in class. I don't know how that's going to go. It's literally a law now that kids can't have their phones in class. So when you talk about the distractions, they're addicted. So yeah, you're right. You have to if you're writing, you got to turn your phone off, lock yourself in a closet somewhere and sit there and it's discipline. I think it's discipline. Easier said than done because I have a book I've been working on for over 10 years.
But that again, that's where an introvert has an advantage because we cut people off anyway. Okay, right now I'm gonna deal with y'all. I'm not gonna call y'all. So and that's what we do. And so most of your top-notch artists are introverts. When they got to cut it off, they will disappear and go get their work done.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I believe that. Okay, Omar, we have a little trivia thing that we do here every episode. Okay, it's just a cute, fun little trivia authors would you rather edition. Okay, so we're gonna have you pick a number from 1 to 3, and it's gonna be like a would you rather this or would you rather that kind of question, but author edition. So pick a number from 1 to 4.
3 is the magic number.
Oh my God, guys, the people who watch this, 3 is that's the one everybody picks. And guess what? I left it as this question. Okay, so would you rather only write at 3 a.m. or only with a typewriter?
I can write with a typewriter. 3 a.m. I'm trying to sleep at 3 a.m. So I'd take the typewriter thing.
Okay, all right. I think you're two people, the second person to say a typewriter. But okay, I used to have a typewriter. They are pretty nostalgic.
Yeah, I'm getting away with the 3 a.m. thing. I'm trying to sleep, so I don't know how many nocturnal people out there, but at 3 a.m. I'm trying to sleep. You know what I mean? Now, if you had said 11 p.m., then I probably said, I can do the 11, but at 3 a.m. That means you're gonna mess up my whole day and my whole night. That's in the middle of the night. I'd rather be asleep.
I feel you. Okay, so what is next? Okay, because are you done with the tour or do you have more cities to go to?
What, when I pick all the cities, do I know what cities to go to?
Are you done with the Flyy Girl tour or no?
Oh yeah, the tour is over with. So now I'm actually going into Flyy Girl apparel. So we're gonna have merchandise. I also have some Flyy Girl perfume. And of course, a lot of that's going to be economics to seeing how fast I can get everything up and running. So the websites are coming. And then I got the retro. If you see, I'm wearing it right now for the hip hop guys. Retro means respect the roots. And so the roots of hip hop, the roots of art, the roots of film, the roots of culture. You know what I mean? A lot of times you got young people who don't respect the roots now because things are changing so fast and they think everything they're doing is great. And so they throw away the stuff that you did to set up what they're doing now. And it's like, hey, man, you don't throw away the past for the future. You got to respect the future, understanding that the future is based on what we did in the past. So now that I'm an older dude, I don't diss Terry McMillan and Walter Mosley and, all the people that came before me, you honor them. You know what I mean? And then you look at your place on the mantle when you do your thing. And so, yeah, the whole retro design I got on my shirt here. We're gonna be doing for the hip hop guys, and then we got the Flyy Girl for the sisters. So I got 2 brands coming out, and the tour is over with, and now I'm gonna go ahead and put that together and keep pushing for the movies.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have all the links so y'all can go get y'all merch. And I think that really quickly, the last thing is the difference, guys. Omar has been doing this for over 30 plus years. Our generation, I'm a millennial, but the Gen Zs, they're used to instant. But is that going to be able to be done for year spans, because with social media, you have to feed the beast. And you have to constantly be that's tiring. It takes me a long time to edit these videos. I don't know how they do it. So I don't know if that's, feasible to do that for a long period of time. So I think, yes, the best way to know about the future is to study the past and retro. Y'all need to go get that, because we need to pay homage to all of the ones that built and paved the way. So I definitely appreciate you for coming on, and we have to give him his flowers, guys. All of these books.
Yeah, you got, and that's 12 of them.
Yeah, that's not even all of them.
You can put up more lists than that. Yeah, that's just 12 of them.
Yeah, that's only a couple of them, guys. It's more. He has a long, list. Okay.
Yeah.
But but if you haven't got the new covers, guys, they're so cute. Okay, you need to go ahead and get the updated versions to add to your collection, because I'm still a paperback girl. I have to have a paperback copy of things. Ebooks, audiobooks, yes, but it's nothing like turning a page. Okay. But Mr. Tyree, we thank you so much for stopping by and giving us a little bit of your time. I know you're a busy man. And we're waiting for that movie. So we can't wait until we can go get our tickets at the theater, popcorn and stuff, to go and watch it. And we thank you, and we give you your flowers, and we hope you know that you are appreciated in the literature community.
And you check in for the Flyy Girl merch on Instagram. We have Flyy Girl Fridays that's already set up, where we're going to be putting all the merch on Instagram. Flyy Girl Fridays. So we already got a lot of designs on it, but once we start actually, producing it, which is going to be this month, and then we're going to start having models wearing it and talking about it, and then we're going to start doing shows and selling it on a regular basis from the website and the different events that we're going to. I even talked about going to New York Fashion Week in September. But yeah, it's expensive, so I got to hook up with some friends to get some less expensive stuff. But yeah, New York Fashion Week.
Yeah, it's doable. You should definitely go and be there, Tyree. And then, are you going to be at the National Black Book Festival in October? I know you know Gwen from Houston.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to be invited to a lot of things, so I'm going to see, what the calendar allows for, because I'm going to be invited back already to Newport News, Virginia area for a festival in October, and then Howard's Homecoming is October. The middle of October. So I got to look at how many things, because I definitely want to go back there with the merch, Howard University's campus, So you got to see how many events I have in September, and then October, and then November, because I'm still going to be busy, you know what I mean, with the retro, which you see on my shirt right here, and then the Flyy Girl, which you're going to see everywhere as well. But you can see it right now. It's Flyy Girl Fridays on Instagram. And you can check out some of the merch there, and we're going to have more coming.
Okay, guys, hashtag Flyy Girl Fridays, guys, with Omar Tyree. Sir, we thank you so much for stopping by, guys. Definitely check out all of his works. Okay, there's so many different genres as well. We'll see y'all in the next episode of Author Interviews with Jazz and Prose.
All right, let's do it again.